Hello, Anthony.
Hello, Claudine.
We have clients ask us a lot, can you amend FBARs? And we're going to talk today about can you, and more importantly, should you? Some of the reasons that people may need to amend FBARs, forgotten offshore accounts. It sounds silly, but you might have an account that you never ever use. It was left to you by a family member in Italy, and you just sort of forget about it. Incorrect balances. If you have signatory authority, people are surprised to find they have to file an FBAR. Joint accounts, so husband and wife. And also life insurance and pension plans. A lot of those do need to be reported.
Yeah, they're not quite bank accounts. They're not foreign bank accounts at all, but that doesn't mean that they're not required to be filed or face the scrutiny and the penalty regime, which is absolutely insane.
It is, and this is what I like, something you said. Amending an FBAR infers a higher standard of knowledge, and this can be used against you.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, this is sort of the crazy perversion of how the U.S. law works. If you amend an FBAR and it's not correct, you're in a far worse position than someone who maybe didn't even file an FBAR or just filed an FBAR and it was incorrect. Because, well, the IRS examiner would say, well, geez, you knew enough to amend the FBAR, and it's not the easiest process to follow, and you knew enough to add this, so why didn't you do it correctly? And you're a smart guy. They always say that. You know, you're educated, so you must have known. And of course, you're educated in whatever your field is. Doesn't mean you're educated in specifically the Bank Secrecy Act, which is not really anything to do with tax compliance.
No.
It's just the IRS is in charge of it. This is sort of part of the insanity behind the FBAR. So it's something where if you're going to amend an FBAR, okay, you can, but understand what would happen if you are audited and they see that. They're going to be looking to penalize you. And it's really, the penalties have nothing to do with the purpose of the law. I mean, the purpose of the law back in 1970 was to give a tool to law enforcement to have a way to civilly, criminally assess penalties against people who were engaging in terrorist financing, human trafficking, some mean and nasty things. But that just hasn't done. And I think you and I keep looking for that case that has 1970, so 47 years later. I think we're still looking for that case where the FBAR was assessed against that person who was somebody like that.
The drug cartel that then had to find a new line of work.
Right.
Because
you know
of
what?
that damn
FBAR.
FBAR.
The FBAR just shut us down and we couldn't find our work with.
Guys, we can't do this anymore. We got to file FBARs. Let's
And this is
get
just
on the straight and narrow.
And, this is, the FBAR is the world I'm in all the time. So to me, I understand the rules and I get it, insides and out, and all the little nuances and the things that are adjusting all the time. So it's something we understand quite well. But if you are not on the inside and don't have the specialty of this should be absolutely frightening to you. I would say you should be absolutely frightened by this because it has all the symptoms of the modern government. We passed a law with the best of intentions, and the law didn't work like it did, but now we have it, so we have to do something with it. And wouldn't you know, it has this really tough penalty regime that we can get some really nice penalties from. And it's pretty easy to get, and a lot of people don't know how to contest it. A lot of people will have the mistaken assumption that the IRS will be reasonable. I mean, which is the craziest thing. They're absolutely insane about FBARs. And just one thing, because if you make an innocent mistake, I mean, let's just say it's a completely innocent mistake, the IRS can just out of the gate hit you with a $10,000 penalty for something that has nothing to do with anything. A $10,000 penalty for multiple years. So that's what you're dealing with. That's what you need to understand. This is unlike anything else. And if you are from a different country, a lot of countries, their taxing authorities aren't out to get them.
So, quick question. Let's say you have an account with $10,500.
Yep.
Unreported FBARs for 3 years.
Yep.
The penalty is $30,000.
No, that wouldn't be true because there's mitigation guidelines.
Okay.
There's mitigation guidelines that would apply. I think in each one of those cases it'd be $500.
Yep.
But which there's just still pretty ridiculous,
Yeah.
right? That's pretty ridiculous to do that just for something that has nothing to do with anything. It's more the fact that they can do it, not whether they should do it. And that's what leads the IRS to do that. We have, that it does appear, that the people assessing at that initial level, the penalties, are IRS auditors. These are people who are trained to be auditors and just to look at taxes. Well, they look at the FBARs the same way. Well, the FBAR is not a tax law, but they approach it like a tax law, and they approach it like the typical penalties. And so they don't think twice about, wait a second, what does this have to do with bank secrecy? Why do I care? And, you know, the other thing, too, there's a recent lawsuit out there where the court, this is Pomerantz, where the court looked at, it's like, well, here's a gentleman who put an account in his own name. So how do we say there's like some effort to conceal? But that doesn't necessarily stop the IRS from looking to assess those.
Yep.
You know, so really, you know, you have to take a look back to say, this is not what you're looking for. And unfortunately, the default rule, and unfortunately, a lot of professionals and a lot of taxpayers just completely underestimate the FBAR animal and what it is. It is really, it is like getting into a car with somebody who is completely drunk and likes to drive fast.
So then the $1 million question, what if you realize you do need to amend your FBAR? What do you do?
I would really, you know, the fact that you realize you need to do it, I mean, unless you are absolutely sure, and your exposure is limited, you really might want to get somebody like us to take a look at it. Because the reason why is something that goes on your FBAR may or may not go on your tax return. Something on your tax return may or may not go on your FBAR. Something on your FBAR that you think might not be taxable, to say, oh, well, no, I just need to go on my FBAR, it's not taxable. Well, no, it actually could be taxable. The big thing is foreign life insurance.
Yep.
Deferred compensation plans like Australian superannuation funds. And there's a lot of things, a lot of accounts. In India, there's tax-free accounts that are tax-free in India, not tax-free in the U.S. So you're thinking, well, no, I don't have to put that on my return. But you put it on your FBAR, right? Now the IRS goes and starts auditing you on this, and they say, oh, well, we noticed you put this account on your FBAR. Tell us about that account. Oh, that's a tax-free account in India. Don't worry about it. What? No. You don't put it on your tax return. Oh, and you didn't put it on your tax return. Now we're going to use the fact that you didn't put this on your tax return as evidence that you were willful, which is like, but it is on my FBAR. Mm-hmm. Well, let's take a look at what else you have. So you end up with some real problems if it's not done right. And you have to understand just how viciously insane the IRS is. And we've had battles that are, I mean, is really something from out of this world, where the things that we're fighting on, I'm just shocked that this is what we have to do, where you're seriously, you know, they're attacking retired school teachers, hitting them with $50,000 penalties for a foreign pension. And they're saying, well, you know, school teachers are smart. She's smart.
She's a teacher.
Yeah, she's a teacher, right? She's teaching the future, right? And you're just like, this can't be possible that you would think this is somehow related to any legitimate goal, and yet there they are. And, you know, convinced they should do more of it, and convinced that they should be on the lookout. And this is, you know, as we've discussed many times, this is the focus of the audits that they want to go after because they're easy. And you have people who are very afraid, and a lot of people are afraid of getting, of making it, you know, of hiring a powerful attorney because they feel like, well, that's going to make me look guilty. Let me just handle it myself, or just have somebody around the block do it for them. And they really get themselves into trouble. And sometimes, unfortunately, some things can't be undone. So it is something, to answer your question, yeah, you can amend your FBARs yourself if you're really sure that everything is fine. But if you are, then why are you amending it? Because you were sure before. Mm-hmm. So I would say get an opinion. And it doesn't take long to get an opinion whether or not, you know, it could be like, yeah, you're fine, just do it. Here's your risk if you don't do it right. Yep. So I'd say that, you know, it might not be a big deal, but I would say I would advise getting an opinion from someone who from a firm that fights FBAR penalties, does FBAR audits, knows the process in and out, goes to the highest level. It's really critical. And unfortunately, just because you didn't really do anything all that wrong, or maybe you did, I mean, those are the people who are usually in the best position because they know the risk and they can be protected. But the people who can't be protected are those who refuse to get protection.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, if you do need assistance, don't hesitate to contact us. 888-727-8796. You can email info@irsmedic.com. You can like and comment below. And make sure you subscribe to our channel so you'll get more awesome FBAR and tax updates. Thanks for watching.